Notes of Truth with Julie Carrick. Here on Morning Joy, where truth matters.
Good morning and welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and we're going to be talking about the Catholic community in the military bases around the world and our need to support those who protect our freedom with a bit of peace in the storm, so to speak. Got none other than Julie Carrick. Good morning, Julie Carrick.
Good morning. Good morning. I really wanted to chat about this a little bit today, being that we are so close. You know, yesterday we just had the 4th of July and all of the wonderful celebrations and stuff. And it always strikes me when there is a national holiday, I can't help but think about what are those people who are protecting our freedoms doing on a day like that? And it's this really hits very close to my own home because the first 5 years of my marriage, my husband and I were living in a foreign country because he was active duty Army at that time. And we were living in Germany. And at that time, we were very blessed that on the military bases that we were a part of there in Germany, we had a Catholic chapel and we had a Protestant chapel, so that whether you were Catholic or Protestant, you could have, like we had Mass, they could have services, and there was an outreach to people who were Jewish. So the different faiths that were, I don't know what the right word is, but those accepted norm faiths, the different Protestant religions, Catholic and Jewish, there was a place that they could have their place of worship and celebrate their faith, live their faith. Fast forward to about, I want to say it's been 12 years ago now. I had the funniest thing happen. If you're familiar with LinkedIn, where it's this, connection of different people in similar workforces, I received a note from a bishop, and I didn't do my research really well, so I just accepted the link. And all of a sudden, I'm getting these weird requests. Like every day, there were these weird requests from these people from this Reformed group or that Reformed, whatever. And they all had the name Bishop. And I was like, oh, no. So I went back, found the link, removed it. And then it was about 2 days later, I get a request from Bishop Neil J. Buchan. And all I saw was Bishop, so I said delete, right? And this went on for a couple of days. I kept deleting his request to link with LinkedIn. And so finally I get this lovely email from the Archbishop, or rather from the Archdiocese for the Military Services, and Bishop Neil J. Buchan. Julie, we're trying to reach out to you. I felt so bad. So I called Bishop Buchan and I said, I'm so sorry, Bishop, for having deleted you like 4 times. And anyhow, the reason he was reaching out is he had read some of the information on the presentations that I do and the fact that I was prior military wife, and what could I do to support the military. And so I was invited to the Military Council of Catholic Women in Chattanooga, Tennessee that year to be one of their speakers. And it broke my heart, to be honest with you, when I was with this group of phenomenal women, many of them spouses, many of them active duty themselves, and hearing the stories of what they were going through to try to have what they needed as Catholics in the military community now. And one of the things that I experienced was, for the since then up and until now, to go and present parish missions, evenings of reflection, retreats, different things that they would like for being built up as Catholic. The most shocking actually was this past March, I was in Germany. I was in Stuttgart, Germany. And to go into the chapel, now it's one chapel that's shared by everybody. And when I say shared by everybody, it's shocking. And what I mean by that is the 2-day retreat that I gave for the women there, we literally had to have the room, the space blessed, because the group that used it prior to us going in for our retreat was a Wiccan group. Yeah, that was great. Um, I mean, shocking. And what made me actually quite angry over all of this is that there was no problem whatsoever having a Wiccan group use what would be the sacred space, right? This Wiccan group is in there, and when the Catholics are done, they use the term, we now need to sterilize the place. And what they do is they cover the crucifix. They literally turn it around so that you don't see the corpus. They turn it around so all you have is the cross. And then they close off all of the stations of the cross. We don't see those. They cover up statues of the Blessed Mother, Saint Joseph, the different patronage of saints for each of the chapels. And they actually call that sanitizing or sterilizing because they don't want to have those objects visible to other groups that would then use the chapel.
Hmm.
And so I think the reason that I wanted to, again, speak about this a bit today is to give this focus that to be Catholic in the military and to have what you need, especially when we are on foreign soil, all of the different bases around the world. Little by little, they are having things taken away from them, and even for me to be able to go um, to Stuttgart, they had called and said, what are your fees? What does it cost for you to come? Whatever. And I mean, I kept it extremely reasonable because I
Mhm.
wanted to serve those who serve. But even to get things like airfare covered or just the basic cost of getting me there, it was a 6-month process. And
Wow.
the red tape that had to be gone through in order to even make it possible, to go there. And
Mm.
so Carrick Ministries, which is we actually have our own 501c3 to support the ministry of myself and the different artists and speakers, but we actually funded it, and then were able to eventually, within, I guess it took about 6 months after I was there, to be reimbursed, basically.
Mhm.
So, one of the things that we can do as civilians to support military bases, military Catholics, is to give a very specific donation. Like, find out who is in need of some type of spiritual support, whether it's a mission, I mean, we were just hearing about the books that could be available, from Ted Flynn,
Mhm.
different solid Catholic literature that we want to be able to get to people because the budgets are so limited. And with our current Congress and with our current sadly, a lot of the leadership in our country right now, they're doing nothing to support. And in fact, they're pulling more and more funding away from the military period. And now part of that would be the chapel services. And so the Catholic chapel services are just feeling such a hit financially. And it doesn't help to like to because it's government funded, so to speak, the different aspects of it. The best thing we can do is to reach out to family or friends that are active duty military and ask them what they need in their chapel.
Mhm.
So perhaps they want to have a retreat, or they want to have someone come and do a parish mission. The best thing we could do then would be to actually buy the ticket to get the person there, to pay for whatever materials they might need to bring with them in order to give those away, so that there's not a financial hardship on the families there. And to pray. I mean, most importantly, we need to be praying for our military. There's such a hunger and there's such a need on the bases, and again, especially in foreign areas.
Mm.
But imagine every 3 to 4 years having to move your entire family. We are so blessed and we are so fortunate as Catholics here in the United States. We take for granted going to Mass. I mean, yesterday it was kind of funny. My husband and I were looking at the clock and it was kind of late. We'd had a fun day with the grands and, barbecue and fireworks and everything. And then we were like, well, gee, should we go to 7 o'clock Mass? Maybe we should sleep in a little, go to 8:30. And I kind of laughed. I was like, well, I won't be sleeping in, but 8, 8:30 Mass, or maybe we could go, I don't know, noon Mass. We have all of these choices within a 5-mile radius of our home to be able to go to mass. And you look at a military chapel, and there's not that same, really not that same possibility for them. And so anything that we can do in our prayer life to support the military families who are Catholic, and to really engage them in their Catholicism. Because again, like I said, could you imagine having to leave the parish that you belong to every 3 or 4 years and move to a completely different parish where you have to meet everyone over again, and redevelop those relationships and bonds and things that are part of how we live our faith when we're not in the church, like church building. We go to mass, but then we have the availability of living our faith. And our military just does not have that same, they don't have that same support. And so to be able to pray for those and to support those who truly protect us, and yes, and to reach out to the Archdiocese for the Military, millarch.org. I mean, it's a great, the bishops, Archbishop Brolio, Bishop Buchan, Bishop Spencer, these amazing men who do what they can in order to truly serve those who serve. I'll have to wrap it up with a funny story, really funny story. It gets heavy sometimes. But we were in Washington, D.C., my husband, Kurt, and I, and we were at the head table. And of course, here is a general who's, it's a big deal, military general. And there's an archbishop, 2 other bishops, the priest, and Kurt and I sitting at the table. And as my husband walked up, who was previous military, he said, "I'm not sure if I should salute or genuflect." Anyhow, a light note to end our.
I love it. No, that's great. Oh my goodness, Julie, per usual, thank you so much for bringing light to something that maybe we don't really think about too often. Praying for those who are protecting us, and you're serving those who serve. Very important to do. So thank you so much, Julie, for joining us this morning and every single Friday. We can also catch you. Yeah, absolutely. It's definitely a joy to have you as well. We can watch, or at least hear, We Sing Our Faith. That's tomorrow, 9 a.m. Central, right here. So stay tuned for that. But yeah, that is the end of our first hour. We hope you stay for the second hour. And if you can't stay for the second hour, wherever the reason, it could be going to Mass, listening to Mass, could be dropping your kids off at school. Just know you can always catch us on social media. Just search Morning Joy Radio. But if those who are staying with us, hey, we've got a whole nother second hour talking with Ann Weber from our great affiliate network, Catholic Spirit Radio. It's going to tell their story and so much more. We also have an after-show clubhouse. We're going to expand upon that first Friday devotion and why we all should be doing it. So stay tuned. We're going to take a short break, and we'll see you right here on Morning Joy, where truth matters.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.